what tokenization essentially does is changes trust me bro into technology.
Permission private blockchains are nothing but glorified centralized ledgers.
So I agree.
Hi and welcome back to On The Block, a Web3 talk show where we talk about anything Web3, digital assets and cryptocurrency related. My name is Marcus and I'm from Symphony Digital Assets. And as usual, I'll be your host for today. And over here we have Aaron, who is from Libeara, a Standard Chartered Ventures incubated company focusing on tokenization and building a platform for that, right?
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Aaron Gwak, and I'm CEO and founder of Libeara.
Yep.
As you've mentioned, Libeara is an incubator startup under the SC Ventures umbrella.
Yeah.
We've been operational for officially launched about a year ago, just before FinTech Festival, and with Singapore FinTech Festival just around the corner.
Yeah.
It's nice
Anniversary.
to see that. Absolutely, but it feels like it's been such a long time.
And so before we begin proper into tokenization, I just have one quick question for you, which is, what is one thing that you wish it can be tokenized but isn't available on the market yet?
I started out on a mission to try and make it more possible for individual investors to buy simple financial products. As a overseas worker trying to send money back home, the only way I can do that is actually to remit cash back home into a bank account that sits dormant in that bank account until I return to do anything with it. One product that I wish was there was for every citizen to have a tokenized version of their government bond that they can buy and hold in very low denomination instantly, so that every time they have extra pair of cash, extra little few dollars, so that they can not only reinvest in the well-being of their country,
Yep.
but they can build wealth at a rate that is usually higher than what banks offer in deposits.
So thank you for joining us on this show and availing your time. So today we are talking all things tokenization, and to put it simply, it's basically an act of creating a digital representation of tangible assets, so real assets like RWAs, real estate, luxury goods, or intangible assets like financial products, your government bonds, treasury bills, money market funds, putting them on the blockchain and having them secured by DLT, or what we call distributed ledger technology. And so, Aaron, you have a rich experience in Web3 and also TradFi. And so maybe you could share with us and walk through with us the process of tokenization of, say, a typical 250,000 bond issuance.
Tokenization can be very complex, but if you break it down and you kind of wind back to what a bond or any financial obligation is, it's actually pretty simple. In history, they say, well, the first instant of a bond dates back to 2500 BC in Mesopotamia.
Oh, that's really long ago.
Yeah, so someone I think in modern day Iran, they discovered a tablet that said, and when we say tablet, we're not talking about iPad, yeah. So just want to be clear. A clay tablet that said something along the lines of, I will pay you back 3 bushels of corn in the next harvest. Something like that. I'm obviously loosely translating because I didn't read it myself. But what that was is kind of the earliest example of a bond.
Yep.
A bond is a promise to pay you back something
Yep.
At a certain date, and in the interim be able to do things, along what it says.
Yeah.
It's basically an IOU. But then an IOU doesn't have to be complex. I can just write you a small IOU. Here you go, and then you give me money.
Hopefully, I keep the paper.
But that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So 1, you need to keep the paper.
Yeah.
2, you need to know that I'm good for it.
Yep.
Right. 3, lots of different things around that. So basically, it needs to be trust, safekeeping, ensure that holds up in a court of law. Even if you know me, but it's like, oh no, I didn't write that.
I thought we were good friends.
Yeah, exactly. Authenticity.
Yeah.
So all of these things are basically the things that, as society grows, we can't do that because we don't know everyone, and that's where intermediaries started coming into play. Marcus, you might lose this. Let me hold it for you.
Yep.
Right? Oh, but I don't want to just hold it. I want to put it in a vault because what if there's a fire and the paper vanishes? So all of these are intermediaries that happen. And then when I transact with you and you're giving me money, what if, do we have to exchange hands like this? Like
instantly.
Yeah, instantly. So that you're holding one half of it and I'm holding another half, and then I say 1, 2, 3, and we release and we exchange. I mean,
sounds like arm wrestling.
I mean, again, if you don't trust a person, that's exactly how you need to do it. Obviously, everyone who's done person-to-person transactions on the site that sells used goods will understand what I mean. But you can't just send a guy money and hope that the guy will deliver the goods, right? So all of these things is why intermediaries started happening. Problem is, with intermediaries becoming bigger and bigger, the problem happened where not being able to go back to the original form of what that transaction was became the issue. Lots of other intermediaries stood in the way and actually made it more difficult for individuals to transact with other individuals, or for the distance between the borrower or the guy who actually needs the money and the guy who actually has the money becomes further and further away.
Yeah, because there's too many players in between.
Exactly. And also, because there are too many players in between, they also need their own, pound of flesh. Obviously, everyone's gonna add their margin.
Yeah.
And for this to be worthwhile for everyone, transaction volume has to be higher.
Yeah.
So small denomination players just got, edged out of the market is what happened. So this is what tokenization has the potential of changing. It has the potential of getting rid of all of the different intermediaries with whom the only goal was to say, this is yours and this is real. That's what all of these guys, intermediaries, are saying. You can trust that guy because I trust him.
Yeah.
But then,
trust me, bro.
Yeah, trust me, bro. But there are lots of trust me bros, right?
Yeah.
What tokenization essentially does is changes trust me, bro, into technology. Blockchain technology is immutable. Once it's written, it can't be corrected.
Yeah.
So if the blockchain says it's real and this is yours, there is no reason to doubt it. The problem with tokenization, however, is because a lot of people have approached tokenization, and as you mentioned in the onset, a digital representation of something that is real or tangible or intangible.
Yeah.
And which is absolutely right. But a digital representation of something, it's not as defined, meaning that if I say this token represents this guy's holding in this guy's box, in this thing that's in the box, it's possible. It's still a representation.
Yeah.
But the distance between the representation here of what you have, the token, and the actual asset can be very far.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that we're seeing in the token market today. In financial reality, the further you are from the actual asset, the higher the risk. And this is called counterparty risk.
Yeah.
The biggest, trust me, bro, is FTX.
Yeah. We all know about it.
Yeah, and I'm very, very well aware. And in that one, they said, trust me, bro, just give me the money, we'll figure it out, don't worry, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that doesn't work. The second box is where, give me the money, I'm going to put it in a box that is a separate box, is away from me, segregated, and that will manage the funds separately.
Yep.
So that even if I go bankrupt, this box is secure and away from me. This is a concept that has been well established in the fund management arena, where they have segregated managed accounts that is managed separately, away from my other commingled funds, and it's separate. That's a great way to do it. But the problem there is that who is the one setting that aside? Who owns the SPV? If I'm the owner of the SPV and I'm a small startup, and there's a lot of money in that big segregated account.
Yeah.
If I go bust, the chances of my creditors coming and saying, wait, I know he said this is segregated, but can we check if it's really segregated? So that's potential for litigation that happens, that could be 18, 24 months. Which is why, from a Libeara standpoint, we like the third box, which is this box is your box. I'm just a caretaker. If I go bust, this is still your box. And that box is interesting because we're using that box as a tokenization vehicle, but it's a very old box. It's a master trust structure.
Yep.
It's been around for hundreds of years, where legally protected, this box is yours.
Yep.
There's a separate caretaker called a trustee, and they legally have to act on behalf of everyone who owns the box.
Yep.
I think this is the safest way we can recreate that simple IOU into something that is not only completely covered by today's legal system, but is super accessible.
Yeah.
Because we don't have all of the middlemen involved.
Yeah. So maybe just to sum up and circle back to the question, the 250,000 bond issuance. So you're saying tokenization of a bond reduces the capital upfront, right? Because there's less margin, then there's less volume required for an individual player. And second is tokenization is trying to solve the multiple intermediary problems, though some of it's like a bit iffy, right? They just make it more digital intermediaries in that sense. It's just a replacement. It's not making it better. But what Libeara is trying to do is having that whole, I think it's called Delta Master Trust structure. Yeah.
The Delta Master Trust.
And so you own the box, and then you can choose who your trustee is, and there's a legal obligation in terms of that whole IOU being not just a digital representation, but it actually holds itself in court.
That's right. That's right.
And so for tokenized RWA assets, excluding stablecoins, Ethereum stands at about 78% market share. And for stablecoins, though the percentage is lower, it's still a majority, right? It's at 50.7 market share. So why do you think Ethereum seems to be like the go-to chain, right? And so what are your thoughts on that, and why do you think so?
Well, from a public chain perspective, which is better technologically or which has more users just because of legacy, a lot of these things will factor in. Before we kind of delve into that public chain arena, you also have to remember that there is the other thing called private chains. Libeara is one of few bank-owned startups that have embraced public chain technology. Public chain infrastructure continues to evolve. And when things continue to evolve, then that means that more minds are put into it. We want to take full advantage of those changes, those positive changes that are happening, rather than invest in technology that we have to build and we have to think of everything.
You have to scale on your own, hire your own employees.
It does mean that the reason why Ethereum probably has a greater market share than others may be related to the fact that there are more builders around it. Once something gets established as being their norm, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy around it. The natural choice becomes the preferred choice, which becomes the obvious choice, which is the one that has the greatest market share, and therefore more people are building on it, and therefore more people are in the community, and therefore it makes sense to go there.
So that flywheel effect is really taking off. There's more contributors, more developers in that. And I think in terms of the number of EIPs, Ethereum improvement proposals, like it's off the roof as compared to all the other chains that are out there.
Exactly.
You were briefly talking about public and private blockchains. And so months back, I was just at Token, and there was this particularly controversial statement that was coming out from one of the panel, and which was permission private blockchains are nothing but glorified centralized ledgers. What are your thoughts on that? Because in my opinion, like when I first heard it, I was like, oh, it it hits really hard. But there's kind of some truth to that.
So I agree. It's like an Excel file shared on Google Drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The idea is that, look, you have to think about it this way. Not that I'm a big fan of franchised food, but let's say that there was a particular, let's call it a burger that was only made in one location. They had 10 seats in that burger joint. They wouldn't deliver. You cannot take away, and you have to come and eat it there. And that is great. Yeah. I love those type of restaurants.
Yeah.
I will queue. Sometimes I will make it the cut. Then I come back tomorrow. Sometimes I queue from midnight. So we all have that experience. Now,
Yeah.
as opposed to this burger that has a particular formula that not only delivers but can take out, you can franchise so that the same formula can be applied in many different places, so that more people can enjoy it. Now, which one is scalable?
Yeah, yeah. There's
Right?
that effect of like
Correct.
it being more accessible.
Financial institutions in general want to have that, look, I want always for them to be my customer. And I think this is one of the things that I think tokenization has the ability to revolutionize. So that individuals' choice moves from the big organizations to me. Over the last 50 odd years of centralized financial institutions, we have now gotten used to our wealth being managed by someone else or being told that this is what we have.
We don't keep our money in the bed or in a tin
Correct.
can anymore.
Correct. And not only that, even if you buy a stock today, do you really know that this is your stock?
Yeah. Depends on how much brokerage fee you are paying.
Absolutely. If you are high net worth, big scale, everything works for you under the sun. If you're a small guy, little one, sorry, bro, nothing for you there, right? So, and again, we talked about why this has evolved, but the centralization of securities really happened with the advent of central depositories.
Yeah.
And central depositories were formed for right reasons, to make sure that there's a central counterparty with all of the financial institutions can trust and interact with, and through which they can interact with other financial institutional participants. Great idea. But if I can bring the person using the money and the person who wants to give the money to this guy together this way, and I can get a digital IOU straight off the bat, I don't need all of these central counterparties, right? In fact, 100 years ago, or less than even 100 years ago, we always used to have, we would have, I don't know if you've seen on if you Google it, you can see, but there are these bonds. And like printed bonds.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
the,
that you
the,
can,
the papers.
now, yeah. Actually, do you know why a coupon is called a coupon?
No.
So these flyers in Korean, we used to call them octopus legs. So when you're looking for a job back in the day, then you'd post it on a notice board of your local community center, and then you have these octopus legs, and you can tear it, and each one has your phone number on it or whatever, and then you tear it up. So when bonds were first created, they were big printed, like you can see, I assume that it's like money. Right? It's big printed certificate with all of the different kind of terms. And then it had these octopus legs below. Yeah. And then you tear one and then you take it to the bank or any financial institution every 6 months on the date that it says, and then it'll give you money. That's what it's called, a coupon. Right. Because it's literally a coupon. That's why bonds have a coupon. But that's how it evolved, right? So then why can't it be the same thing? In that one, there was no safekeeping, but it did run the risks. Oh, I have to keep it safe. What if there's a fire? What if it goes underwater? What if it's fake? All of those things were solved. But now you don't have to do that. Now you can create securities natively in codified form that is immutable and absolutely trustworthy.
I think we're coming to the end of the show, and just have one final question for you, which I think in most panels that I've been to, whether it's talking about tokenization, RWAs, they usually end off with this question. I don't know, maybe it's just to hype the crowd, right? And so I'm going to ask, what is your prediction on the market cap for just tokenization, inclusive of stablecoins, right? RWA, stablecoins, private equity, yeah, in 2030. So we're currently sitting at, I think, somewhere about 13 billion.
If you think about the global bond market and the global cash market,
Yeah.
the global cash market is much smaller than the global bond market.
Yeah.
Just from a market cap perspective. And I can definitely give you all the actual numbers. In crypto, stable coins, and security tokens or real world asset tokens, that if you put real world asset tokens into one box and crypto and stable coins into another bucket, that is actually reversed. So there's more cash than assets. Whereas in quote unquote real life, it's actually the reverse. There's more assets than cash.
Yeah, that's true.
But assets and cash have evolved over time. This is now nascent.
Yeah.
So I think we will get to a point by 2030, certainly, where the total amount of assets or RWA on chain outweighs cash
Stablecoins. Yeah.
on chain.
Right. Cool. Aaron, I think we covered some really good ground today. It's a lot of content and insights, and thank you for coming and joining on the show. And to all the audience out there, thank you for staying with us till the end. If you have any burning Web3 questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. And until next time, where we decrypt the digital space block by block.